Hey everyone, you're listening to Ankur Warikoo on Woice with Warikoo. On this podcast, I talk to you about entrepreneurship, how to grow in life, manage personal finances, handle failures, and a lot more things that just come to my mind. The episode begins. In August of 2020, which was my birthday month, which is my birthday month, I was turning 40. And because I was turning 40, there was a lot to reflect upon. It just seemed like a age and a time with everything that's gone and everything that's happened in your life for you to take a pause and just reflect on how things are. And what I love to do is more often than not just reflect upon the mistakes that I've made, because it's crazy that no one really sets out to make mistakes. But only when you reflect upon them, you recognize what were the blind spots that got you to make those mistakes in the first spot. So this episode, I wanted to share with you all the mistakes that I made in my 20s, which was such a defining decade. And I'm glad that I went through these mistakes. Number one, I continued to pursue my education because I was good at it, without ever asking myself if it made me happy. I was good at physics. I was good at what I was doing. And because I was good at it, I falsely assumed that this is what I should be doing in life. But I never really paused myself to ask, am I really happy doing it? And when I asked myself this question and the answer was obvious that I wasn't happy doing it, that's when, for the first time in my life, it struck me that what you're good at and what you're happy doing could be two entirely different things. Number two, I looked down upon people who used to smoke or drink or party every weekend. I felt they were losers. They're the reason why the world will come down. And today I recognize that it's not who you are, but what you do that truly defines you. You could be someone who smokes and who drinks, but you're this judgmental person who's always constantly bucketing people and placing them into these cocoons that you have defined for yourself as right or wrong. But at the end of the day, that's not how they're defined. That's not their entire definition. That's not their entire identity. And that was a big mistake I made. I remember reading books that made me look cool without truly understanding what I could learn from these books until much, much later in life. People do not remember you for the company you keep. They remember you for who you become because of that company. I, for the longest time, felt morally obligated to help everyone in distress. I actually used to get attracted towards people who were in pain, in trouble, in some sort of chaos, and it felt like I had the moral obligation to save them. And if they continued to remain unhappy, I blamed myself. And I think the best gift that you can give yourself and to others is to actually take care of your own happiness before anyone else's. I felt that the lack of money was the root cause of all our family problems. And once we had money, we no longer will have any problem. But the truth is that our problems are the stories that we tell ourselves of how everything will be fine once we get what we want. But that's never the case. I don't think money solved any of our problems. It solved all of our money problems. But there were so many more problems that we had never even thought of, or we always felt that money would just take care of everything, which nearly wasn't true. I felt that rich kids will never make it in life because they've got everything on a platter and they don't know how to struggle. They don't know the grind. They never sat in a bus. They never bought vegetables on the street. And I was convinced that their privilege will actually harm them. But today I know that it is not privilege that harms anyone. It's not privilege that harms us. It is our lack of awareness of our own privilege that harms us. If we are not even aware of the fact that we are privileged, we're not even aware of the fact that we have so much going for ourselves in our lives, that the fact that we were born in a certain family, went to a certain school, had a certain upbringing, and that sets us up for so many wonderful things in life and opportunities. If we don't recognize that, then that is something that harms us. In almost all of my 20s, I ate shit. I slept odd hours. I maintained bad posture while constantly telling myself that I have tomorrow to fix all of this. Tomorrow is when I will go to the gym. Tomorrow is when I will leave sugar. Tomorrow is when I will eat right, sleep right, and do everything. But today I know that the excuses that we give is actually the distance between who you are and who you wish to be. I really tried too hard to please people. I tried really, really hard to please people. I wanted them to like me, to think highly of me, to think that I'm such a smart person, to speak highly of me in my absence to others. And today, I think the biggest thing that I know is that if your happiness depends on external validation, then your happiness depends on something that you do not control. I took loans. I took loans literally for everything because I didn't have the money as yet. Not just loans that are good loans, like an education loan or a house loan. I took loans for shit. I took loans for having a better marriage. I took loans for having a better vacation. And I kept telling myself, but I will have the money in the future. And that's why it is okay. But the truth is that if you do not have the money to pay for something right now, you do not have the money. Period. That's it. I didn't think that subjective topics such as psychology or business ethics or human resources were needed or they were even important. Like those were shitty courses that people who didn't get enough good grades in school used to go for. Like business is all about finance and it's all about marketing. It's all about you knowing how to build the technology. What good will happen if someone knows psychology or ethics or human resources and shit like that? But after 11 years of running startups, I know that business is all about people. It's all about people. It's how well you know them and how you treat them. I assume that if I speak well and speak confidently, it will cover up for the lack of content that I have. But you can't lie on stage. The audience will always know it is within your heart. If people approached me with their problems, my job was to determine whether the problem was worth my time or not. And if it was, then my job was to fix it. So I was always in this fixing mode. People came up to me with problems, and I was like, fix it, fix it, fix it, offer solutions, offer ways of fixing it. But today I recognize that listening to someone without judgment or prescription, advice, listening to someone without attempting to fix things for them is the most precious gift you can give someone. I always told myself I need to have a plan. A plan is the only way that you can get to life, anything in life. You got to have a plan. You got to have a plan. You got to have a plan because, hey, you know what? If you don't have a plan, you don't have any chance of getting to anywhere. But the best plan in life is to actually not have a plan and be okay with it. The best plan in life is to have the ability to be okay with not having a plan, to actually allow yourself to explore, allow yourself to go and experiment with different things, not knowing where it will take you, but being okay with wherever it takes you, because that's the journey you want to sign up for. I looked around and saw that everything was designed to make our lives comfortable. And so I falsely assumed that the purpose of life is to make life comfortable. And today I know that avoiding the comfort trap is the difference between who you are and who you could have been. The world will always trick you into believing, get comfortable, yes, get comfortable. But only those who are constantly challenging themselves, only those who are facing their fears almost on a daily basis, are the ones who are making things happen. If I said something, wrote something, shared something, I felt rejected when no one cared, when no one responded, when no one commented. But the truth is that no one owes you their time and money. You earn it every single day by the work that you do. I had to make money fast, buy my parents that house, buy that fancy car, that vacation. I had to make money fast to buy stuff. But money can only buy you stuff. The biggest thing that money buys, though, is freedom. That includes freedom from stuff. I assume that if you work hard, really hard, you will eventually win. Working hard is the only thing that matters. But what you work on is just as important as how much you work on it. Because, hey, even donkeys work hard. Working smart is the difference between a donkey and a human. I blame myself for being late in the game. At 29, I was jobless with no money, no plan, no clue. I remember watching The Social Network, which was the movie about Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, and feeling shitty about the fact that at 26, he was a billionaire, and at 29, I had nothing going for me. But today, I know that everyone's running a different race. In fact, we're not even in a race. We're on our own paths. Some are walking, some are running. And while we can see each other and trick ourselves into believing that it's the same race, it's not. We're only racing with who we were yesterday. I assume my work will speak for myself. If I do well, people will give me what I deserve, what I wanted, and I never asked. But if you don't ask, the answer is always no. 90% of what happened to me in my 20s was because of luck. I am that guy who was at the right place at the right time and lucked out. And as much as I'm grateful for that, I wish I knew better. Today, I know the 20s should be used to discover yourself as against stabilizing yourself. Meet as many people as you can, do as many jobs as you can, explore as many streams as you can, find out what you're good at and what makes you happy, and then spend your 30s doing that. Frankly, I'm embarrassed as who I was in my 20s. I was underconfident, I was people-pleasing, I was overweight, I was stuck on one path, I had made bad decisions with money, I was a judgmental kid. But I'm glad that I was all of that because now I know who I don't want to be. And that reminds me of a beautiful quote by Jim Carrey, who said that I wish everyone in this world could get rich and famous and everything they ever dreamt of so that they can see that's not the answer. Have a wonderful 20s. Have a wonderful whatever decade you're in. And it's okay to make mistakes, but it's far more important for you to reflect upon them and see what is it that you learn from them. Who is it that you want to be despite making those mistakes? I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please subscribe. To be notified of upcoming episodes, be sure to subscribe and follow the show on this app right now. Also, don't forget to rate and review the show because that just feels nice. Thank you. If you like this podcast episode, then please remember to subscribe to the channel because every week you will be notified.